Good day to you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Film Focus, episode 207. My quick thoughts on the Street Fighter sneak peek. Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Film Focus. I'm your host, the Hypersonic55, and I'm glad that you decided to join me once again for some film-related discussion. And whenever there is a video game adaptation announcement, your boy is going to emerge from his hole to come back to the podcast and talk about it. And today's topic of conversation is, of course, the Street Fighter sneak peek that was dropped during the Game Awards. Now, I didn't think we were going to see any footage for this adaptation for at least a little while because it'd been filming for a bit, but I didn't know when they were going to end up finishing filming and then start to get the marketing campaign set up. But considering that the Game Awards is a place where not only new games are announced but adaptations are announced as well, I should have seen this coming. But it looks pretty decent, I'm not gonna lie. I have been following this adaptation for quite some time, and from the points where we had the original directors, which were, those horror duo who made Bring Her Back and the other one with the Talk to Me, that's right. I was very curious to see what their version of Street Fighter was going to look like, but obviously they had to pull out. So then you got the new director who came in, who worked on the Twisted Metal TV show, amongst other things, and I was like, okay, at least he's worked in the realm of video game adaptation, so he has like a foot in the door in that respect. But then when the cast was announced, mate, it was such a big hullabaloo online. A lot of, doubters, a lot of doomsayers, a lot of like, this is terrible, this is going to be a terrible movie. And I thought that the cast was an interesting, eclectic mix of some notable people here and there, a lot of unknowns, and a few just what the hell kind of choices. But hey, it was the cast that we got, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give them a chance, see what happens. I saw some of the behind the scenes stuff, and I'm like, okay, it's not looking too bad, it's looking a little bit more tangible. But again, I was still just concerned. But then we saw this teaser trailer, and again, it's more noted as a sneak peek on the official Paramount/Lionsgate YouTube channel. But honestly, it's looking a lot better than I thought it was. And one of the things I appreciate about it is that it seems to be leaning into the absurdity of what Street Fighter is. Street Fighter, if you've played any of the games, you know that it is a strange, ridiculous, and over-the-top kind of franchise, but it's also super cool, fun, and full of all sorts of joyful things. And obviously, part of that is picking all these weird characters and getting to see them beat the crap out of each other. But yeah, man, I mean, I have been part of the Street Fighter franchise, not in a hardcore way, but a casual fan of the franchise since I played the first game for me on the Sega Mega Drive, which was the Champion Edition version of Street Fighter 2. And from there, I played most of the other Street Fighter games here and there in one way, shape, or form, from the EX series to, at least two of the three versions of Street Fighter 3. Played at least, I'd say, 2 out of the many versions of Street Fighter 4. Played a bit of 5, and then have played 6 at a couple of events here and there. But yeah, I mean, I am mostly familiar with the characters, the lore, and have seen at least a good few of the adaptations as well. Obviously, with this film being the third attempt at a live-action Street Fighter film, there's the silly but much beloved Street Fighter movie from 1994. Then you have the garbage, disgusting, offensively bad Street Fighter The Legend of Chun-Li from 2010. And now you have this version, which, again, from what I'm looking at right now, it looks kind of fun. And in this episode of the podcast, I'm literally just going to touch on the teaser trailer in a very sort of loose kind of way, just share my quick thoughts on it, because there is a potential chance that this film could be some good shit, but we'll see. So anyway, let's just move on and start talking about it. Alright, so the first point I wanted to bring up about the teaser trailer is the authenticity to the source material. The amount of stuff that they were able to bring from the games into the film is quite surprising, quite staggering actually. When it comes to the costumes of certain characters, some of them look absolutely spot on, or as close as you can get. Certain characters like Cammy, Guile, Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Zangief, and Dalsim, especially, they all look pretty darn good. And while there are some subtle changes here and there, or you can see that certain characters have amalgamations of certain costumes here and there. Again, when you look at them, this looks like Street Fighter. You can recognize who these people are. Some of them are striking very specific poses from the games, using certain moves from the games. The fact that they even got the bloody minigame where you're destroying the car in at the end of the sneak peek is ridiculous. It's like, yo, these guys know what's up. They know exactly what source material they're drawing from, and I feel like they also understand the ridiculous nature of it as well, because moving into the tone of this trailer, it's very loud, over the top, very bombastic, and it also helps with the choice of song as well. The fact that we got to hear Punk Tactics by Joey Valance and Bray is great. It's a really fun choice because that song, I only actually came across it, I think, either earlier on this year or last year, and thought it was such a fun, energetic kind of Beastie Boys kind of vibe to it. And it's very good for this kind of teaser trailer to show you something that feels crazy, silly, over the top, and explosive. And I feel like, yeah, just tonally, from what we've seen, again, it's only little glimpses of characters interacting, striking poses, throwing down, and, Eric Andre dancing like a maniac. But I feel like this film is self-aware about what it is, and it's leaning into its source material in that kind of way, and that makes me happy. I know there's a lot of people that think that the sneak peek is looking fairly ridiculous, over the top, and dumb, and I know there's a lot of doomsayers out there saying that this film is going to be bad, and quite possibly it could be. Now, drawing from the source material isn't the be-all and end-all of a film, and is not a mark against its quality or a mark for it. Obviously, this could be source material accurate and still be a bad movie, but something just tells me that this is going to be fun, and that's all you really want from a Street Fighter film. Street Fighter is inherently ridiculous, and I kind of hope that we'll have those ridiculous elements intact, but still have a cohesive story that's tangible and fun. And I like the sounds of the synopsis of this film. It sounds a little different from what we know the characters' scenarios to be like in the games, but again, adaptations mean that things change. That's fine. But yeah, I'm liking, just again, the tone, and the look of the film is also surprising. I didn't expect it to have such dramatic lighting. It definitely felt a little John Wick at times during some of these interior, or like what looks like nighttime scenes as well. But it's always fun when a film has a distinctive look that can elevate it beyond just looking like a standard kind of movie. Now, the action looks pretty decent. It looks like we're definitely going to have some wire work involved with certain things here and there. And obviously, we still haven't seen the extent of what these characters' abilities are, because, we haven't seen any hurricane kicks or spinning bird kicks. We haven't seen Blanca's, electricity attack, or him rolling all over the place, or Dalsim use his stretchy arms, or blow fire, or teleport. We haven't seen E Honda's 100-hand slap, or see that move where he does that headbutt and flies across the screen, or tries to jump and sit on you. Are we gonna see M Bison do his Psycho Crusher? There's a lot of weird moves in the world of Street Fighter that I want to see how they're gonna tackle this in live action. And yeah, I mean, the previous two Street Fighter films didn't do great in terms of adapting what the character moves are like. Obviously, they were limited by time and budget, but this time around, we could see something pretty cool. Again, I'm just wondering how weird it's going to look in live action. And I guess the only other thing I'm interested to see is what the characters are going to be like, because there's a lot of people in this cast. And there's still potential other people in the Street Fighter universe that are pretty pivotal to, the overall mythology that have yet to show up. Where's Sagat? He's a pretty notable character from the Street Fighter mythology, and also has a notable rivalry with Ryu. So I'm wondering if that will be addressed in this film at all, or if it will be saved for a sequel. And speaking of a sequel, that they're going to try and make another one of these and turn it into a franchise if this first film pops off. I'm also wondering, with the cast being as big as it is, will everybody get their time to shine? Will everybody have a notable contribution to bring to this film? Or are we going to get certain people that will be relegated to supporting cast, or, just extended cameos? I do wonder about that. Because again, these characters, they mean a lot to not only me, but a number of people across the world. And you just want to see your people be done justice. So I'm hoping that they found the right balance and the right rhythm for these characters, not only individually, but also during their interactions, whether in pairs or groups. I am concerned about the action scenes because you know me, big fan of martial arts. I want to see something that's cool, that's tangible, that is very well done. And I don't know who the fight choreography team is on this, but I would hope that it's someone that is able to utilize the source material and show off all the different fighting styles that all these characters have, but make fights that still seem, really cool to look at as well. Obviously, wire work is going to be involved. Obviously, there's going to be definitely some CG involved. I'm just hoping it's not going to be the cheap kind, that they're going to at least put enough effort in that this is going to look cool. I guess the only other negatives that I have about this is that Andrew Schultz, who's playing Dan, again, he's a terrible choice for Dan. Dan is one of my favorite silly characters from any game franchise, and when I saw it was him, he was going to be picked. It's like, I just not keen on who he is as a person outside of this, and ew. But I guess we'll see what happens. Vega looks all right, but I wish he, looked a little bit more muscular. And Roman Reigns, I've got nothing against him, but him as Akuma, he just doesn't scream Akuma to me. So I'm wondering what the relationship is going to be like between him and Ryu and how he's going to play the character. And I'm just also a little curious about wire work when it comes to action scenes. Sometimes it can be pretty good, but sometimes it can be a little weird looking. So very curious about that. Otherwise, again, I am very curious. I'm very excited. I want to know more. I want to see more. I am very curious again to see how this story plays out. And again, the only advantage that this film has over the Mortal Kombat franchise at the moment, because obviously Mortal Kombat had its first entry in 2021, and I thought the film was good despite some of the issues that I had with it. I feel like it was halfway there to being something great. It just made a good number of bad decisions with the characters and story and certain mythology elements that I would have personally changed. But 2021 Mortal Kombat didn't lead into the absurdity of what it was as much as it could have done, and leaned a little heavier into the serious department. Whereas Mortal Kombat 2 seems to be at least a little bit more self-aware of the franchise as a whole and is leaning into the sillier, more absurd elements. Whereas Street Fighter, straight out the gate, seems to be, we know what we are, we're stupid, we're ridiculous and over the top. That's what you're going to get. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a fun time when it drops later on in 2026. But I'll be there regardless. I have my fingers crossed for this. So now I'll turn it over to you, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think of the sneak peek of Street Fighter? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Are you somewhere in between? Are you a fan of the franchise and think this is a bastardization of what has come before? Or are you open to the madness that you have seen so far? Whatever your thoughts are, drop them in the comment section below or hit me up on Twitter where I'm at Hypersonic55 or at FilmFocus55. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and obviously the podcast is available on all platforms where podcasts can be found. And yeah, until the next time, this is the Hypersonic55 signing out. Peace.